Good morning, Sally. Good to be here with you again. We saw you last week in person, which was great.
It was so nice to have a Harry hug in person and catch up with you. And you're such a spunk, Harry. It was so nice to just shoot the breeze. Canberra is such a beautiful place, and that place that we went for lunch was lovely. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. You can't beat a cafe in the park.
No, lovely.
So today we're talking about wellness or well-being, pretty much interchangeable terms. Very interesting. There's a whole lot of marketing around wellness.
Yes.
Government talks about wellness. Corporations talk about wellness. Gyms define themselves as wellness centres. But when I actually look around at the programs that are offered, most of them are not about wellness. They're about something else.
It's one of those tag words. It's like pregnancy. It's markup. Anything relating to pregnancy, anything relating to marriage. It's just a big marketing hole. It's the same with wellness and well-being. It's living it, not just talking it. It's really living it day by day. I've entitled today "Building Resilience, Not Reliance." Oh, do you like that one?
Right. Yes. Very good. Well, it is all about resilience, and the thing that differentiates wellness from anything else, it is preventative.
Yes, absolutely.
It's before the car crash.
Yeah.
It's not after the car crash. And the health system that we have here and the medical system that we have here and the pharmaceutical industry is all about after the car crash.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The World Health Organization has this year actually recognised burnout as an occupational syndrome. Like, people are getting this is just one aspect of it, rather than just physical health, but just the mental health and getting on top of stuff. Mental health and mental illness is enormous in this day and age. Stress is, the number one thing affecting the whole world. And, for the World Health Organization to actually recognise burnout in a business sense, you're just literally worn out. And it's interesting because we were talking about being worn out, and I've had several days in Canberra and I just felt worn out and slept. Like, I literally hit the wall and slept. Like, it was incredible. It's, and it's recognising the triggers or the warning bells that are going off in your own body and taking notice of it. The body just sends you messages and screams louder and louder and louder at you to stop and wake up, so that you can prevent getting worn out or getting sick, depleting your immune system. These are just day-to-day things, as opposed to really, the terrible illnesses that can occur when we just keep going and living unhealthy lifestyles and putting unhealthy rubbish into our bodies, or exposing ourselves to ongoing stress or toxins or pollutions or whatever it is, doing things, not having that balance in our life, going too hard.
The challenge is that if it's the normal, you get used to it and you don't realise. Exactly. So one of the really good ways to get awareness of what's happening in your body and what stress is doing, for instance, is to have annual blood tests. Like from 40 every year.
Yep.
And have a look at the stats, see how they change, see how your blood pressure's changing.
Yep.
Your homocysteine, your cholesterol, your iron, so on, all of those markers. Yep. But if you look at them together and look at the trends, you can pick up early warning that something's going in the wrong direction.
Yep.
Before you get diabetes.
Yep.
Before you get, hypertension and so on.
Yep. Yep. Because, cardiovascular disease is the number one killer in Australia. I think it's every 11 minutes someone's dropping dead of a heart attack or a stroke or something. And, just monitoring yourself, it absolutely is just simple things that you can do to maintain your health or keep on top of it or be aware of your own body. Super important. Super important.
So it's interesting, when I have a look around at what the government does and what corporations do and so on, I think there's very low adoption of wellness programs. And I think it's because there's a perception. I think there's an inbuilt bias. There's an inbuilt cultural bias against preventative programs, firstly. I think there's an inbuilt assumption that there's not enough evidence around these programs. there was a HEPA study. It was a meta-analysis done in 2010. It looked at 600 studies and surfaced a whole plethora of positive outcomes from wellness programs. But part of the problem is that one of the best results of a wellness program or a wellness practice or wellness attitude is that you feel better.
Yep.
And that's a soft measure. It's a perception. And we all know feelings drive pretty much everything. But the sorts of things that are involved in any sort of wellness practice are moving, eating well, strategies to reduce the impact of stress on your body.
Meditation, yoga.
Improved sleep, you've touched on that this weekend. Reduced addictions to drugs, screens, whatever, violence, whatever it is, whatever turns you on. Improving mood, sustaining mood.
Yep.
Getting your health screening, which I've talked about. Reducing toxic exposure. So you live on a corner of busy roads. Yep. You're exposed to toxic chemicals from the traffic.
Absolutely. Yep.
But you can put filters on your water. You can make sure that if you want to move house, you don't move into a new one, which has been filled up with chipboards, toxic paints, toxic carpets, so on. There are new building syndromes.
Yep.
Particularly for kids.
And the Wi-Fi, we spoke about that too. Wi-Fi within buildings.
That's right. And most importantly of all, build connections with the community.
Oh, that's key, isn't it? That's the key to living a longer, healthy life is community. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of wellness retreats that exist, like yoga retreats and meditation and that sort of stuff. But that's sort of a small sector, if you like. It's not across the board. And you're right. People in general are not willing to invest in preventing illness down the track. It's only when they become ill. So doing these wellness clinics for preventing illness, I don't know. It's more about just making you feel good now, reducing the stress with it, but it's not popular. Like as in,
It's not popular because I'm just going to finesse what you just said. Individuals do adopt wellness programs and wellness lifestyles, but institutions don't.
Yeah, that's.
There's no institutional support.
Yeah.
So there's no health fund. I mean, for instance, health funds are supporting less and less in the preventative space.
Absolutely.
Not more, actually shrinking.
Yeah.
And that's been driven by probably Friends of Science and so on, groups like that. But there's a real disconnect between what institutions are saying and what institutions are doing in this space.
Yeah, and it's surprising because the wellness industry is the fastest growing sector in the economy. Its growth is twice that of the financial economy. It's well worth over $4.2 trillion US. And that was several years ago. So it's worth more than that. So but that includes things like, the skincare and massages and treatments and facials and the self-care, if you like, as well as the deeper level stuff. So, it's definitely, I really like how you said individuals are adopting it, it's not the institution. So it's becoming a more important part in people's lives, but it's as you say, once you get the institutions in there, like the big government groups and whatever, and supporting it, because you're right, your healthcare fund now is taking off the massage or the chiro or the naturopathy or whatever, getting the rebates. They're being wiped off instead of being increased, which is, not encouraging people to go down those lines.
And if you've got health insurance, there's really no incentive to do anything preventative in the funds I'm in or have been in.
Yeah,
I'm actually thinking of getting rid of it. I just can't see any point. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a little bit, could make you a little bit cynical if you took it too seriously.
Oh, there's that grin. Yeah.
But you mentioned about skincare.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in the wellness industry that I wouldn't call wellness, and a lot of the stuff in skincare is actually the antithesis of
I know.
wellness.
It's frightening. Your skin is the largest organ in the body, and it's, some of the crap that's in these, beautiful skin products are just causing more issues than not. Particularly like in sunscreens, there's some of the stuff that's in that. It is actually really frightening. So, getting back to the building resilience around well-being, and that's your ability to cope with things in life. So, the stress, that's where meditation helps. Sitting with gratitude, being positive, taking breaks, giving yourself some exercise, eating well. All that helps you build resilience with your days, because look, it's a 24/7 world, and with high levels of stress, with huge demands on people. And, as we keep saying, stress is just like knocking people around, and it's building resilience to it rather than reliance on the band-aids to get you through, be it alcohol, cigarettes, whatever it is, drugs, or crap food, or unhealthy lifestyles, or whatever, people are relying on to get through their days, rather than being resilient and, improving their sleep and improving their mindset and improving ability to cope with the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm, or depression as well, because it gets you down day in, day out, finding those gaps where you can actually have joy and happiness in your days, because that's what life's about, is finding that balance, so that you can, you have to sort of get on and do day-to-day chores or whatever it is, work, but finding joy and happiness in the small moments each day, and taking time out for yourself, super duper important. We bang on about that all the time, giving yourself the validation that it's okay to take a break, or to say no, or to put up boundaries. And it's super important to your wellness and well-being, and having a healthy mindset. It's really important. Having a walk every day, getting that exercise, being out in nature. That Canberra, it's just, you're surrounded by nature. It's just so fantastic. It satisfies my soul.
No blue sky today.
Look at that. It's just outdoors. It's beautiful. It's trees. It's
very windy.
Well, it's actually, hopefully it's going to rain, because, Canberra really needs
maybe. I'm not sure. I got the girls downstairs to a rain dance, but I'm not sure they had their hearts in it. I have to go down and encourage them a bit more, I think.
Yeah. Well, we were really focusing on the rain as well when we were on the.
Did you get some?
Well, it started spitting last night, and it's definitely due to rain today. You can see it in the clouds. So, but I must say, the blue skies in Canberra just makes you chill. It's just like when I get the sun on your muscles, you just go instant relax. Where we went at lunch the other day, it was just out in nature. It was beautiful. Cafe was under the trees. Magpies were there going through the leftovers, and it was just really chilly and relaxing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that was just an hour for lunch, and how chilling was it? It was great.
It's good. It's really good. You got a couple of nice. Oops! You got a couple of nice shots of me too.
Yeah, yeah, it's lovely. Okay. So I have done a little model today, and it's all about building this resilience, not reliance. So if you can calm the mind and clear the body, you're going to reduce your stress. And when you calm the body. Yes.
How do you calm your mind?
Well, calm the mind. I do that through meditation in the mornings. That's a good start to the day. Or I stop and I pause, and I think what's going on in my head. I do some connecting with my breath. I know. And I actually do some mind sealings, but I know, it's craziness. Chat. Do you know, with my clients, it's the mind. It does the head chatter that doesn't stop, and you have to stop and pause and recognise that this is going on. Stop the inner critic, and let's build up the inner coach, because the mind.
What they call the monkey mind. Yeah.
The monkey mind, you say? No.
Monkey mind, yeah. It's always moving.
Oh, yeah. It just doesn't stop. Can you shut up? Stopping and pausing. Because then you have that awareness that what's going on, and then you can reset it or shift it into positivity, or tell it to just be quiet. Yeah, absolutely. And clearing the body of, stress, having a massage, or, eating well, flushing out with water. It just helps keep you more reduce stress and more calm. And then once you're clearing the body, you're having a massage, letting the stress out, rolling your shoulders, having a good stretch, drinking lots of water and eating well, and connect the soul, connect it back into what's important, connect back into breathing, back into your heart center. It's really relaxing. And then when you're connecting back into the soul, doing things that satisfy the soul rather than crush the soul, and calming the mind, overall, you're just going to have more clarity within yourself and clarity with your path, where you're going, your purpose and your direction in life. Do you like that one?
I do. Where does cleaning the pool fit into that? Which
well, that's actually calms the mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Moving really does. It allows you to
water is very cathartic. Moving water is very cleansing. So, it is a bit of a chore, but I just connect in and, think about stuff as I'm doing the and clearing out the filter box.
Loving the leaves as you pull them out.
No, cursing the little bobbly bits that come off the palms, the fruity bits. Whatever.
Yeah, the seeds, yeah.
Or is that what you call them? I call them a pain in the ass.
Seeds, yeah.
Seeds.
So you've got palm trees.
Yes, lined with palms all around the pool. Yeah. Yeah. They're not healthy.
That's the tropical image, yeah.
I'll take you out the back next time, Harry, and show you. Got them all.
You don't have a pool here because the pool season here is too short.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I would have thought that Canberra is warmer than Melbourne, like earlier on, like springtime.
Warmer in summer, but it's much colder in winter.
But it is definitely much colder in winter. Yeah. Well, my pool literally is a water feature for the gym. So you look outside and you see water, and with greenery all around it, palms and whatever. So nice. In that sense, it's a very big, expensive water feature.
Does it get much use?
No. I was actually going to fill it in and put the gym over the top of it, which would have been a better idea. The amount of work a pool takes, as people would know, is huge. But it is pretty to look at, and it is nice to put your feet in on a hot day. I just jump in.
Yeah, cool. So my model's a little bit different to you. First of all, I think the first step is always to adopt self-responsibility, because actually no one else is going to do it for you, and you need to be doing it because you want to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Second step is to assess your status. So get regular blood tests or whatever tests you need. Do them regularly, so you can see what's changing. By measuring it, that will change behaviour.
Yep.
You know that when you get measurements, it changes behaviour, and then you can action small, achievable steps to build a sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you do that, you'll prosper, and you'll build well-being. So the steps have to be super small.
That's key, because then it's sustainable. Small, simple steps.
So you drive to work, okay, get to the building, take the steps.
Yep.
And if you can't do that, when you're leaving, take the steps down.
Yep.
Just do whatever's achievable.
Just start and just do simple, small steps. Absolutely.
For me, I like running up the steps. And I never take the lift.
Yeah, you've got several steps. Have you counted how many there are? There's a couple of flights to get up.
Oh, no, it's a bit boring. Don't know.
Yeah, it's really important what you said, to own the stuff. It's your responsibility, it's your life, it's your journey, it's your health, and it's your responsibility, and it's all about the choices you make. And so, own your.
But I love your fitness activity, which is locking yourself out of the house and then climbing up to the second floor, helped by a plumber to get up. I think that's.
Oh no, that was Oh man, I must put a spare key outside because it's Catwoman. I'm getting too old for Catwoman. Oh yeah, don't do that. And the other thing is having those regular tests, Harry. Yep, that's super important, because you've got some markers to measure against. You've got a base.
Do you get your annual bloods done?
Yeah, I do, and it's really good because when they print it out, it has all the previous years. So it's the same pathology group. So
do you get homocysteine done?
No, what's that?
Get
Are you
homocysteine.
sure?
Yeah.
Oh, could well. I'd have to have a look. But it
You'd
was
have to ask for it. You'd
um,
have to ask.
one of the
When,
guys. Sorry, go on.
when I get mine tested, like I live in the valley, like Canberra's a series of valleys.
Yeah.
The blood woman said, I've only seen it, one of these before.
Yeah, right. Really?
Yeah.
And one of the guys at the gym, he's in his 70s, and his doctor suggested that he get his calcium levels. Yeah. That's not old. He get his calcium levels checked. Now, his cholesterol was totally fine, and so he had his calcium levels checked, and he was 2 days later in hospital for a triple bypass because his calcium had clogged. It was clogging up all of his arteries or whatever into the heart. And it was just another thing that I hadn't really thought of checking. And he said yes. And so that's now on the watch list as well, calcium levels.
But you take a lot of exercise, so that, that would keep your arteries, your cardiovascular system more flexible.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. Yeah, work on
I feel fitter just seeing you, Sally.
Yeah, well, it's my passion. I love it.
So there's been books written about homocysteine, and it's a blood marker that is probably one of the best predictors of chronic disease that there is. Yeah.
And tell me more about it.
We could do that in a separate chat.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay, let's do that. Because that would be interesting to find out about that. Yeah. And I just think whatever you're doing, just increasing it and, having that time to decrease stress is really, really, really important for preventing illness down the track as well. Ongoing chronic stress has huge ramifications for people in their lives.
That is easier said than done if you're immersed in the stress.
Yeah.
So I think one of the first things is you need to reach out and talk to somebody if you're really stressed.
Yeah, but recognising it first of all, as you said before, because when it becomes the norm, that's just your stressy day. Yeah, recognising that you're living with chronic stress. And you're living, as Dr. Joe would say, living in survival mode, not living in thriving mode.
Yeah.
Just getting by on the hormones of stress, cortisol and adrenaline.
Yeah. And when you move, say go on holiday, have a rest, go away from home, that's when you're going to get the symptoms.
What happened to me? I couldn't stop sleeping. Whew, body says, recharge, baby. Yeah. Well, it's something that we're both passionate about, and that's why we do these recordings, because it's all about wellbeing and, different elements of it. It's just incorporating it into your daily life and being aware of, your daily life as well, what it holds, what you're doing, what you're juggling, and how you're dealing with it, how you're feeling through it all. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Opening your eyes and waking up to what's going on in your life and in your body and within yourself.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, Sally, I look forward, we won't be doing next week, but I'll tell you why, and week after it'll be in a fortnight. Yeah.
Ooh, okie dokie. Right. Found a mystery. All right, Harry, well, lovely chatting to you and about a topic that's very close to our hearts, and that's why we're here. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. See you in a fortnight. Bye.